Hey everybody, welcome back to the Recovering Athlete Podcast. And I tell you, I'm really excited to have been introduced to and got a chance to meet Prince Daniel Jr., who, we had a really, I would talk about when two people come from out of nowhere and we get together and we just kind of mesh and gel. And that's the beauty of sport, but also just this transition to life after sport, because we resonate on so many levels. And that's what happened in our initial conversation. So Prince, man, I'm so excited to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
Oh man, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So let's do this, man. Why to kick this off, where I like to go in the beginning is give us a quick snapshot of Prince Daniel Jr., the athlete. What was your
Mm,
athletic journey?
my athletic journey. Wow. Okay. I started. I played 1 year Pee Wee League of football. I was growing up in Houston, Texas. I think I played. Um, yeah, one league, only one year of Pee Wee League football. I did exceptionally great, and I still remember those days. I remember those days like it was yesterday, because I was 10 years old playing with 13-year-olds. But I remember how strong they were. I was just like, oof, this is a different ball game. And after the games, I would have to soak in the bathtub or just look my football equipment on before it was taken off. And I didn't play football anymore until I played another 1 year in middle school, and then didn't play football until high school. So um, from high school in Houston, Texas, A-Leaf Elsick, I went from there to college. I was a walk-on at Georgia Tech. Ended up earning a scholarship, man, and had to overcome the odds to be able to position myself as a student athlete. Do good off the field and do good on the field. And earn a scholarship and get all ACC academics and break NCAA records. So the athlete I had this champion spirit of like, I can never be defeated, and I'll never let anybody defeat me. So it was always that be the best, and your best is not good enough. So be better than what you were good at. Be better than that, and always look to improve. And so um, in high school, I never forget the first day I stood up with so much confidence when we had to introduce ourselves, just like who you are. I was a freshman, came in, just like, hi, my name is PJ Daniels, and I'm gonna be on varsity. And I sat down, and my coach told me I had to stand back up because they was just like, what position do you play? But I had it ingrained in my mind that I was gonna play on varsity. Uh, Fast forward, college, number 7th on the depth chart at Georgia Tech, and which I was highly recruited out of college. Didn't do well on my ACT, SAT, but I had really great grades. So I was able to get into Georgia Tech. So I never signed with any big team. Went to college, 7th on the depth chart. At the attrition and people, my teammates failing out of school, getting hurt. I ended up becoming the man. I wouldn't say by default, because it was definitely, I was definitely uh, nothing happened by coincidence. Coincidence was definitely that role, and so I worked until my opportunity presented itself, and I never looked back. And then get to the league. Man, started figuring out the game. The game started coming to me. It slowed down like I was in the Matrix. And shortly after, I injured myself, and man, I just kind of fell into a self-identity crisis. After that, I was discharged and went home. Like I said, identity crisis and then depression. And that transition for me was very, very difficult. And so that's what the athlete of Prince Daniels looks like, man. Just a guy that I'm persistent, I'm resilient, and like, if there's a will, there's a way, and I will always find that will, and I will always find that way, because when someone tells you like my college coach had told me that I wasn't going to amount to anything, and my chances of playing at Georgia Tech are 1 in a million. My chances of playing in the NFL are 1 in a billion, and there was no chance of me playing at Georgia Tech. Well, I like to defy those odds, man. And a challenge is always good, but just be mindful of who you set that challenge up, or who you present that challenge to. Because you can never measure another human being's heart.
Mm. So when you get to the NFL and you have been this underdog all along,
right?
And you probably stepped into that role in the NFL, right? As the underdog.
Right. Yeah, because I wanted to be a first round pick, or a first day pick, and I was the second day, just like early day, so like the 4th round, 132nd pick in 2006, and I had a chip on my shoulder because of that. Just like, man, y'all could have at least took the L off the 4 and made that into a 1. So I always had a chip on my shoulder, which was actually a good thing, but to an extent, and we can elaborate more on that. But yeah, I definitely came in with a chip on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And
so then you used a unique term when you said you were then discharged from the league.
Right.
And for somebody who, I mean, you were drafted, man. I mean, you achieved, obviously not what your expectations were, but for a lot of people, you achieved the ultimate dream, getting drafted. And then you used the term discharge. Was that, tell me more about that. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So I use the word discharge because my rookie year, they didn't think I was ready to play. I ended up fumbling in preseason. In a game, I fumbled twice in one game. One, we recovered the fumble, but the other time, the other team recovered the fumble. And so that first year, they didn't think I was ready to play, so I was on the basically like the development squad, but I was still an active player. And so if someone in my position would get hurt, then I would be a replacement. My second year, I get
real
injured.
quick.
Yes.
Who drafted you?
The Baltimore Ravens. Sorry about that. Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens. They drafted me in 2006, and so the first year, I have a funny story too. That's funny. With Brian Billick, man. Shout out to Brian Billick because he's a really good coach. You never know until he starts getting on you, and it's like, man, why is he always riding me, man? But it means that he cares. And even though it sounds psychologically messed up, it's the truth. So second year, I get injured preseason, right before the season starts, and I sprained my hamstring. And it felt like I ripped my hamstring, felt like Velcro being torn apart. I wasn't going to be ready until after the first game of the season, so they decided to put me on injury reserve. I stayed there for the whole year. I wasn't able to come off. That was the rules back then. Now they have different rules. And then my third year, right preseason camp, I was number 2 back, going to be the number 1 back. If Willis McGahee went down, his knee was bothering him. So sooner or later, if I would have been able to stick it out, I would have been the number 1 back for the Ravens in 2008, if I'm not mistaken, 2008, 2009. And right before, during camp, I just had a freak accident. I was in tip-top shape running, and I fell, and I tore my labrum in my arm. I tripped over my own feet because this day I decided I wanted to talk a little smack, and I never talk smack. I just let my work do the talking, but I was just feeling myself because I knew I was in tip-top shape. But I knew my speed was where I wanted it to be. I was swift. I was looking like a gazelle, and ended up hurting myself. So after that, I get injured, and I go. So my rookie year did not play. My sophomore year, came back, got injured before the season. They put me on IR. I had to sit out for the whole year. Next year, I come back, tear my labrum, out for the whole year again. They put me on injury reserve. So now, on paper, it looks like I'm injury prone. And so I go and do my rehab in Atlanta, Georgia, my alma mater at Georgia Tech. And after that, I do myself a rehabilitation. And the one thing for me, psychologically I was injured as well, emotionally, physically. So I needed to sequester myself and get away so I can regain my sanity. And I didn't show my face that much. And so when I came back to Baltimore after the season was over and we did a season evaluation, they said that they wanted to go in a different direction. And so I was discharged prematurely because I was rehabilitating myself when no one was around. I wasn't like just running in the woods, just getting back to nature, just using trees as defenders and making moves, just really focusing on being a student of the game and making sure that my comeback would be stronger than my landing. And so, when I said I was discharged, it was like at that moment in time, I just like, well, we're going to go in a different direction. We're not going to continue you for the next year, whatever. So, good luck. And so from there, I was just like, so wait. So you're telling me that that's it? Like there's no other steps to this? And there's no letdown. There's no program that I enter. And that was it. So, when I expound on the discharge part, just like I was just let go just like that. And I really didn't know what else to do from that point on. So I didn't know the next step. I just started working out again, called my agent, and hopefully that I get picked up by someone else. I had another workout, but I didn't prepare or train because I didn't know if I was going to get another opportunity. I didn't know what the process was like. I didn't know that I can go work out for the team. I just thought that like my life is over. I've been cut. And
Did you ever play again?
I did not play again. I had another workout with the Buffalo Bills, and my workout, I missed my flight to go there. Then I had to show up the next day, and then I showed up the next day, and my workout wasn't the best. So it was just a number of things, man. And it was definitely me, but at the time I was young and I was the victim, and I was blaming others. And the one thing I did not understand was communication. I didn't know how to communicate because I had a lot of pride. I don't need anybody's help, and there was a lack of resources for me when it came to like mentors. I didn't know who to trust. It's a business, so like, who do I trust? It seemed like dog eat dog world, and where was I going to go to get some trusted information from a resource that I trust? So yeah.
So you're done playing. You're in your mid-20s, probably.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Obviously, not with the mindset that you have now. So you mentioned earlier that transition was a huge struggle for you, identity crisis, etc.
Right.
Expand upon that.
So when I was let go or discharged, I didn't have a clue what to do next. So I ended up getting the workouts. And then after I get the workouts, I get an evaluation from the Buffalo Bills of some of the things that I need to work on. So I started working on all of those things. So I go and work out, and I'm working out every single day. I worked out for 365 days of the year. that was the first time and the last time and the only time I would ever do that again. No, I actually still work out today, but not to that extent. Every day I was out there pulling tires, doing some yoga, then have another workout, just making moves, cut drills, everything that I needed to do to be a great running back. And so uh, I went home and I worked out, and I was hoping that I would get a phone call from someone else. Never got another phone call. And I worked out for 1 full year. And that was the space that I was in. I didn't do anything else. I didn't try to go back to school. I didn't try to get a job. I did not do anything. I was just waiting for that phone call. And that phone call never came. And I never made any phone calls because I thought my agent was going to do it. Then I went from one agent to another agent. And then they kept saying that, after I released several of my agents, they were just like, well, you're like considered like, what do they call it? Street prospect. Meaning, you just kind of come from the streets to try to play a game when no one really knows about you. So, so after that, I stopped after 1 full year. Just looked around. I'm just like, man, nobody's gonna call me. So what next? And I decided, I was just like, well, what next? Let's just start a training business. So I started a training business where I would train, well, I really didn't know how to train. So I started getting people just to work out with me. And that's how it became like a business. And then I started learning how to work with people and train them and teach them the proper techniques. And so from there, I had this self-identity crisis. I was like, who am I? Who the F am I? And shortly after that, that's when all these debilitating thoughts or these negative thoughts started just streaming into my brain. Like, dang, you lost your job, you let your family down, you let yourself down. Like, who are you? Like, you are weak. You suck. Like, there's just so many things that my subconscious mind was telling me constantly over and over again. And so that is what led to the depression, and which shortly after that led to suicidal ideation and then a suicide attempt. So the transition for me was really difficult because there was no one that could really help me out and say, hey, I know what you're going through. Look, join this program or do this. Or this is you need to get some help. And plus, I didn't want to reach out to nobody for help because that made me look weak. And so I was still trying to work on myself, work on my emotions. And luckily, I had an opportunity to go to a monastery and spend time with monks. I was afforded that opportunity. But when I would call my college professor and other people, my parents, they were just like, well, just go back to school. I'm just like, school, F school. Like I can't go back to my school that I left. I left school early. I left school with like 9 credits left. I was like, forget this. I was like, I'm going to go make some real paper, y'all. Y'all can go and get the degree, but I'm about to go make some real paper and I come back and buy my degree. And so that was the mentality that I had. But when that plan of action fell through, oof, like I was also embarrassed to even show my face to anybody, go back to school, because it was just like, you failed, it would have been that large F or L on your forehead, like failure, loser. And so I definitely avoided going back to school. And so, but the one thing that I did say to myself is I'm gonna make a commitment to myself to be able to reach the highest level of who I am as an individual. And that's when I really started tapping into spirituality and just understanding what life is about and just understanding the principles of life, because I wanted to know more. I didn't want to just operate from a mental or intellectual standpoint. I wanted to be able to go to the highest form and then allow for whatever else that I need to trickle down from there. So if you have to put spirituality, well, if you had to create a hierarchy, spirituality would be at the top, the mind would be second, and then the body would be last at the very bottom. And so, because what I realized is that your spirit tells your mind what to do. Your spirit activates inside of you, just like, hey, I have a desire. I want to do this. Boom. So now it tells your mind what you want to do, and your mind starts to work. Subconscious mind works and the conscious mind works. And I start working towards what you want to accomplish, what you want to do. This is like all a part of manifestation, crystallization. And then after that, your body is just a byproduct. It carries out that performance. And it gets, you project a thought, and your body is like, okay, we're going to catch up to that thought. We're going to merge. Now that becomes your reality. And for me, that was a part of my transition. And so I'm wanting to reach for the spiritual part, understand that as much as I can, embody that, dive into it, and then after that, everything else will take care of itself. And that's what I did. And that's who I am, and that's who I am.
Man, fascinating story. And when you hear about depression and suicidal thoughts and attempts, and you as an outsider, listening to this story, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of people listening to this that can resonate with where you once were. And yet you have been able to kind of bridge to a new space, mindfulness, spirituality, connection to yourself. And if someone is out there listening who is on the end where you used to be, where you are now seems like it is just a world away.
Right.
How did you, I know you mentioned you went and spent some time in a monastery, but what was it that really got you to that point where you went on this journey to say, hey, look, I need to connect with myself, with my spirituality? How did you get to that point?
So I put a 3-day plan together of how I was going to kill myself. And I got to day 3, because I was going to blow my head off with my shotgun. And first 2 days, my gun was unloaded, and I would pull the trigger, and I would place the barrel underneath my chin. I'd pull the trigger, and I'd get used to that. And I would just repeatedly do that. And then not only do that, but also embody the feeling, the rush that came with it. Like, oh man, like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm committed to this. I committed to it. And there was still a part of me who was just like, that had doubts. Like, what are you doing? And so I had to try to override that in my mind, because there was that doubt that was just like, no, don't do this, don't do this. And there was a part of me that the malicious part of me was just like, man, shut the F up. We're about to do this. So day 2 comes. I'm practicing still, trying to blow my head off, but this time I scatter my bullets on the ground. And then day 3, the morning of day 3, I load my gun, put 2 bullets in there, just like it's only gonna take 1. And I go and make several phone calls. I made 7 phone calls to be exact. I called my parents. I called I called my professor. I called my uncles. Just called people in my family, just to see if they could relate to me, if I could relate to them. And no one told me what I wanted to hear. I'm just like, and I didn't tell them that. They didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't tell them what I had going on in my brain. It was like a ordinary day. Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, good. Sounds good. Well, I'll talk to you later. I remember calling one of my teammates, one of my former teammates. He as well. It just took me away from like my depression, and just hearing him, he's just like, "What's up, bro? How you doing?" I was just like, "What's good, baby? How you doing, man?" I was really excited during that moment, and when he hung up, because he had to go back to work and practice, oh man, I just fell right back into the depression even harder. And I'm just like, man, like nothing is going to take this away. Nothing is going to take this away. And in the meantime, I had been going to the monastery, but I was new to meditation and not really understanding it as much because I haven't delved all the way into it. So I called these 6 individuals, and then the seventh individual that I called was the guru at the monastery. And it was funny because I just started lamenting about what I'm going through. I just lost my condo. I just lost my condo. Like that's when the market crashed, 2008. The market crashed. I mean, I bought a condo for like two 275, and it went down to 150. And then I had to do like a short sale. I was just like, I'm dying here. I was just like, I worked this hard and I put all this money into this, and now I've lost it. I won't get 1 cent back. So it was just so many things going on. I was running out of money. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to invest my money. I was trying to call people to see how I could invest my money. No one was turning my phone calls. I was going through so much, and I'm just like, I'm about to kill myself. And I'm saying all of this on the phone. And after I finished talking, there was a brief silence, and then the reply was, "Are you done?" And I was just like, "What?" And for what is that? Who's that? Celine Dion, "Take My Breath Away." Is that? So it was a moment where my breath was taken away. I'm just like, "What? Did you not hear what I said?" You know? And as much as I dramatized it, my what was going on in my life, he just minimized it. And then it's like, meditate, click, and hung up the phone. I was like, I'm for sure I'm gonna go do it right now. And
No way. Wow.
yeah, just like that. It was such a powerful moment. Something that I definitely was not expecting to hear or did I want to hear. But the powerful moment was when I walked into my room, and my closet is in the back of the it's so you have the master bedroom, you have the room, and then in the bathroom it's to the right, and when you go through the bathroom, that's the closet. So I was in my, everything was prepared for me to commit suicide. So as I go into the room, there's my meditation pillow, and it seems like it's just sitting underneath the light. Like there was a light shining on it, like like this angelic light just shining on a meditation pillow. And I look at it and I just curse at it, just like F you. And I said to myself, okay, all right, this is my last lifeline. I was like, I'll give myself 1 hour. I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna give it every single thing I have. And so meditation is like an effortless practice that you learn how to adapt. And so I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna do 1 hour, sit here for 1 hour. And usually around like 35 minutes, my hips begin to throb. They hurt so bad because I'm in the lotus position. And so I go and sit on my meditation pillow, and I sit through this 1 hour meditation. And 35 minutes, my hips start hurting, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna move. I'm not gonna move. I'm not gonna move, because you're practicing stillness. Yeah, you're practicing how to control your energy, control your mind, and control your breathing. Don't allow it to control you. So I'm sitting 35 minutes, my hips start hurting. I'm just like, I want to move. I want to, and man, what's that? I have 25 more minutes left. I'm like, oh no. So I kept saying to myself, you said that you was going to commit to it. If not, you can go in there and blow your head off. Let's go. So around 57 minutes, man, I am struggling. I'm sweating. It was like the most difficult thing in my life. And I just said, I looked at the timer, which I'm not supposed to. I just opened my eyes and peeked at the timer, and I said to myself, 57 minutes, come on, 3 minutes. And at that moment in time, I just took a deep inhale to try to push the pain out. And I exhaled the pain out. And all of a sudden, my whole body just went limp. And the outside of my knees just fell to the ground. Boom. And then I had some energy just shoot up from inside of me, inside of my body, to up into my head. It was just like, whoop. It was like, ooh. And for that moment, I knew that I had connected to something, because where I was, or the space that I was in, it was so quiet. I could hear the speaker. So I wasn't the speaker like how I'm speaking right now. I can hear myself talking. I was doing the talking, or I connected to my higher self that sends a signal down to me to do the talking. So I was in this quiet space, and it's just like, what are you doing? Because the previous days before that, it was just like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm about to kill myself. That's what I'm doing. And I would hype myself up to do this. So that same voice, what are you doing? And, first time came around, I'm about to kill myself. Then the second time, I asked that same question, what are you doing? And I was just like, wait, what am I doing? And when that happened, the timer went off. Ding, ding, ding. And it was like a dream, just vacuuming me out of that space. And I was like, no. And the tear came out of my face. And I was like, what was that? What was that? What's that? What was that? And from that moment on, I never thought about harming myself again, ever.
Wow.
And I realized that there's something inside of you. If you can get past the surface level, then you will discover it. And it's a jewel that's just buried inside of you. And so what you have to learn how to do is look beyond the surface level. And a lot of times, once we get to the surface level, we're like, that's enough. But it's just like that analogy. If you're digging for a diamond, and the person that stops, they give up. And when they give up, they don't realize that there was a diamond on the other end. All they have to do is just dig a little deeper. And so that's what happened with me, man. And I got my first glimpse of enlightenment. And this was just like, whatever that was, I want to see that, chase that for the rest of my life. And I have, now that was what, 12, 13 years ago.
Wow.
So, like, man, I mean, I credit, like, everybody needs to practice meditation, because yes, commercial wise, you have to give people some of the surface benefits. But I mean, this stuff is like, it's beyond the imagination of what the practice of meditation does for you, to you, and how it can help you. I've seen it do a lot of things. Just being at the monastery, just seeing like, you can do that. I watched videos, and I was just like, you can do that. And I would go back and speak to the guru at the monastery. He wouldn't really tell you. He wouldn't directly come out and say that, yeah, you can do those things. He would just be like, the brother is maturing. And just like, and then afterwards, like, you have a meditation and he'll send you some energy, and it's just like, like, and you'll get a chance to get a glimpse of that and see it, and just like, this is real. Like, oh my goodness. Like, wow. Okay. So, and some people, if you aren't able to comprehend it, because you have to have a comprehending mind and a curiosity. But if you aren't able to comprehend it, you can label it as like voodoo or something. But the truth of the matter is, this is something, it's in you. Like, you already have a force and a power within you, but you really don't know how to use it. You just know how to use it based upon your emotions. But once you learn how to extract your emotions from the situation and learn how to use it, and then put your emotions behind it so it can be a driving force, then that's when you start really understanding like how to manage your true power and how to master like the balance between your power and your peace.
Man, what an incredible story. And I'm grateful for, you mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to bring it back up. I'm grateful for your champion mindset that you had way back in high school, that you brought to Georgia Tech, that you brought into the league, because the championship mindset had you sit there for that extra 30 minutes on that pillow,
Right.
to get there and to push yourself through that. And
Right.
man, that's who you, I mean, I'm seeing it and hearing it, man. That's who you are. And that drove you to get past that desire and that urge to take your own life, and through and through. So you come out of that's your first experience with enlightenment, and you come out of that. And first, let me check in, because one of my previous podcasts, I interviewed former NBA All-Star James Donaldson. He's a former Seattle Supersonic and Dallas Maverick. And I interviewed during a time where, he's in his early 60s now, and where just like everything we're talking about, identity crisis. I was this NBA All-Star, played against Jordan, Bird, and Magic, and all these guys, Lenny Wilkins, and he was no longer relevant.
Right.
And so he was going through his own suicidal thoughts, attempts, and so forth. And so I just want to bring up to those listening, if anyone is having those types of thoughts or feelings, or putting together plans or so forth, please, I know there's suicide hotlines out that don't have the numbers offhand, but please contact someone. Please reach out, just as Prince has done, to people that could provide some sort of avenue for you to listen and be there for you, because we all, especially, man, as athletes, we got the championship mindset inside of us. We got the athlete mindset. We just got to find a place to put it.
That's it.
And for you found it through mindfulness. So now take me to kind of that next step. You found this enlightenment, and you're like all in. And now it's become you're living. This is what you're doing.
Right.
What's that? What you been doing? What's that look like?
What's that look like? So, most people. So I've always been trying to practice my meditation I used to watch a lot of kung fu movies when I was younger, and seen a couple of cartoons like the Avatar, Kung Fu Panda, Dragon Ball Z. So, and they all have something in common, and they all talk about the force within you. And I've always wanted to be able to understand like the law of attraction, and being able to manifest things and crystallize things, because I was able to do it to an extent. Well, I was able to do it in the league, and a lot of guys are. That's why they consider athletes, geniuses, because they're able to instantaneously manifest things. And but I wanted to manifest it on a level of like what I've seen like Tibetan monks be able to do, or Indian monks, or just monks in general. And so if you're going to do something, you want to commit to it 100%. And so for me, it was just how deep can I go with this? How better can I get with this? Who am I? If I want to know who I am, I have to look within. And so now, it's just a constant revisiting, looking within, like just checking in with myself, knowing who I am every single morning. Like, I don't care what time I go to bed. I went to bed at 2:00 last night, and woke up same time, 6:30. I'm sorry, 5:30, and meditated. And then so I wake up and I can still feel myself a little drowsy a little bit, because like 1 hour of meditation is equivalent to like 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Mm.
And so when I lack the sleep, then I do the meditation. I practice the meditation, but I'm constantly practicing it. But if I get proper sleep, then that energy that I just cultivated is used towards something else. So and it's not used towards me having, filling me up with energy. So I say this to say that I'm constantly practicing. I'm constantly I'm constantly connecting to my higher self, and which allows me to attract and magnetize all the things that I want in my life. So right now, with my book coming out, and I'm starting to get a lot of people's attention, just going to a lot of attention. People are starting to see like, hey, who are you? And I'm just shining a little bit brighter than what I was before, and it's due to um, my consistency of checking in with myself, checking in with my higher self, checking in with the universe, checking in with God, checking in with whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly looking within and checking within, because that's where it exists. And in order for you to go up, you have to look within. And a lot of people do not understand that or know that. 'Cause a lot of times we get stuck in life where we can't go left, we can't go right, but a lot of people don't know that you can go up. And the only way to go up is, to look within. So doing that, and everything that I'm doing in life, it seems like I'm always walking on. I'm walking off, the analogy that I use. I'm walking off of a cliff, and as I walk off the cliff, I have so much faith, I become the faith. And so as that happens, then a cloud becomes my footsteps underneath me. So I walk off the cliff, and there's a cloud that just catches my 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 walk, my progression. And then as I keep walking, another cloud catches me, and another cloud catches me, and another, and I just continue to keep walking in like thin air, um, and have an insurmountable faith that I'm protected at all costs, because this is what I asked for. And so you receive what you ask for, and so I do it from a place of purity. Where what I mean by that is just like, I don't have any other ulterior motives. It's just, I'm just purely asking for this one thing, and I don't have any other intentions behind it except to be able to do this. And a lot of the times I'm granted that. And so also I'm connected to my intuition. So whenever there's anything that's going on, my intuition saves me from from disasters, from chaos. Just mindful, like everything, very sensitive. So in this universe, we're connected to the universe. So you have to be able to connect to yourself, because once you do that, you're like an antenna, and it allows you to know what's going on in the world. So for me right now, it's just me constantly practicing meditation, and then going about my day, reading, working out, and enriching people's lives whenever they come into my presence, or just allowing them to see, like an infectious smile, because not too many people are smiling these days, and I'm constantly smiling, so it makes other people want to smile, and so that's the gift that I can give. So that's what.
And you got a great smile, man. For those of you who are
Thanks,
watching
man.
on YouTube here, you get to see it. If you're on the podcast, you got to head over to YouTube and see this infectious smile. So coach me up here, because, and I know others are probably in the same boat I'm in. Mm-hmm. I first was introduced to meditation probably 15 years ago. Yeah. And I guess I would call myself a fair weather meditator, because when things are going well, I'm up in the morning, especially now in the summer, like the sun is up. I love it hitting me in the face. But what happens is, especially early on when I started meditating, when, I started in '06, '07, my sister passes away. '09, I lose my first business. Like all this stuff just was hit me. And I'm going, why am I even doing this? Because it's not manifesting. All manifesting is challenge and trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so was difficult for me to connect with that. And even to today, I sit still and I focus on my breathing, and all I get is just, thoughts rolling through the day. What I got to do? I'm behind on this. I got to, this is going on, and I got to deal with the kid. And it's just, I get frustrated. All right, I'm done. Like, it's just, it's too much.
Right.
What advice do you have for me or others like me on how to really, because I really desire to, I really want to get better at connecting with my higher self.
Right. So, what we're doing, you said something that you're looking to connect with your higher self. And when you look to connect with your higher self, the connection never really happens. As I mentioned before, meditation is an effortless practice. So, with all your thoughts that are flooding your mind, it's just your thoughts that are flooding your mind. So you have to allow for those thoughts to pass. So there's two ways. You can observe by being a meditator, or you can focus on one thing. So if you focus on one thing, your mind is going to deviate from that one thing. So you have to effortlessly bring your attention back to what that one thing was before you went into your meditation. The kids are up. Oh yeah, bring it back to this. My wife, bring it back to this, or or friends, or this, or did I leave the stove on? Bring it back to the meditation. Bring it back to that one pointedness, that one thought. That's one way. The other way is the observation way, the witness way. Got the kids. The kids. Let it go. The stove. Let it go. But I won't. Let it go. Because what happens is your emotions cling on to it. When your emotions cling on to it, it's just like, that's real. That's the reality. That's what I have to put my energy into. And if you're trying to connect to your higher self, you're not using none of your energy to connect to your higher self. You're using all your emotional energy, which is energy and emotion, to focus on all the external things when you have to really focus on the inside. So what you have to do is either focus on one thing, or allow for all those other thoughts just pass. And because when you sit, what happens is now your brain gets bored. It's just like, okay, we thought about this, we thought about that, we thought about all these things. Like, oh my goodness, like what next? And just like, well, I'm sitting here to observe me. What's inside? Okay, what's inside? Oh, what hurts? Oh my goodness, your hips hurt. Oh my goodness, your legs hurt. Oh, your back hurts. Oh, your arms hurt. Your hands hurt. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. What next? And so once you get past that, again, you got to get past that surface level. Once you get past that surface level, then it's just like your mind, it almost like your mind shuts off, like, ding. Because sleep is unconscious meditation. Meditation is conscious sleep.
I thought of it like that.
So you go to the same space when you dream, when you sleep, and when you meditate. And the only difference is when you sleep, the similarities are your body is in a repose state. You're limp, your body, you don't use much of your body. Even when you're in meditation, you don't use much of your body. And then you go into this space where you're subconsciously there. So your subconscious mind you dreaming, pull over, all of a sudden, like it comes out like, ah, shoot, and then you go into another realm, and it's just like, you're still running, you're trying to run away from Freddy Krueger. I used to have those dreams. I'm trying to run away from Freddy Krueger, and for some reason, his claws are still like, he's so far back, but every time he sticks his arm out, the claws are like right on my heel. I'm like, I'm not running fast enough, So you don't really have control of your dreams. But when you go into your meditation, you go into that same space where you dream. Now you have control of what you do if you decide to go into a dream. So, and it's also a way that you can extract your dreams into your reality. So, I'm trying to get back to the point where I was making. So you have to be able to sit through all the things that you want to do. You got to understand your emotions, because a lot of time, most of the time, it's just the EQ, emotional intelligence. You have to know. You have to understand how to use your emotions. Your emotions is a driving force. Your thoughts. So you have this fertile garden of a mind, and your thoughts are mental seeds. You have a million thoughts that have been planted in your brain, whether it's from external things like the television, any type of programs, channels. They're all implanted in your brain. Your upbringing, everything is implanted in there, right? So what makes it become real is your emotions. They come behind it, and it's just like the driving force. It's like, that was real. That was real. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. It makes everything become a reality for you. Now, when you're asleep and you have a dream, you still think that that's real too. Or you have a nightmare, you're like, oh shit. So, I had this dream that I was falling off this building, and then all of a sudden and you wake up, and so now you really can't decipher between what is real and what's a dream. So what you have to learn how to do is be able to sit with your eyes closed. Allow yourself to miss the sleep, miss the dream. And the only way that you can do that is by constantly practicing meditation. And so, like I said, sleep is unconscious meditation. Meditation is conscious sleep. One, you have control over yourself, and the other one, you don't have control, or should I say, control of your thoughts. And this one, you don't have control of your thoughts. Mm-hmm. So for you, my advice for you and anybody else that's out there that's listening, practice. Practice, but it allows you to become perfect. And it doesn't have to be 5-10 minutes. That's what you say to other people to commercialize, mindfulness and meditation. Let it be 30 seconds. Get a glimpse of, trying to hold your focus for 30 seconds, or get a glimpse of sitting down and observing and allowing your thoughts to just run through, or, pass through your mind. I use this analogy. You don't go to the gym if you want to get stronger and decide to lift all the weights on the very first day, because your body 2 days later will be sore and hurting, and you will say to yourself, I am never going back to the gym. So the same thing with meditation. Don't try 5 minutes your very first time. And even if you are good at 5 minutes, just start back at that building stage. 30 seconds. You do 30 seconds, boom, you get comfortable with 30 seconds. Oh, that was too easy. 40 seconds. 60 seconds. Then what does 60 seconds equate to? 1 minute. From 1 minute, now you build from that 1 minute. And then when you can build from that 1 minute, then you can start building up to 60 minutes. What does 60 minutes equate to? 1 hour, and so forth, and so forth. And the deeper you go, like Alice in Wonderland said, go deep into the rabbit hole. You go deep into the rabbit hole, then you start realizing, like, oh, there are levels to this. There's other things that that I can do that I'm not connected with. And then you start realizing like, oh, there's more to this. And so yeah, my suggestion is just you just have to continue to keep sitting. You know, a lot, and sometimes we don't have any direction, so it's always good to read books. Have a video that I watched years ago. It's called The Spiritual Journey Within. I believe that's the name of it. The Spiritual Journey Within. I will remember it. The Journey Within, Spiritual Reality. It's on YouTube. But I've seen it a long time ago. It was one of those videos, like, you know, you get your hands on it, it's just like, whoa, this is this stuff. So you got to check it out.
Well, I tell you, you know, you just like your guru said to you once, are you done? Go meditate. Click. So I'm going to think of that next time. All these thoughts are passing and I'm trying to control them.
Yes.
Are you done?
Yes.
Just meditate.
Yeah. Like even if you want to get rid of that anxiety, like do all the checks before you go into your meditation. Like check on the kids, they okay. Make sure the stove is not on, they okay. You know, everybody like, hey, I'm okay. And then you make the announcement, I'm going to go meditate. So now you alleviate yourself from all of those doubting thoughts, and you go in and you spend time with yourself, man. I mean, that's really that's what truly matters. Because once you can connect within, like every single thing that you do in life from that point on, you're connected. So anything that you ask for, like the door opens up for you. The universe opens it up for you. You know, like Christians and other people in other religions, they use, you know, God, Allah, whomever, you know, the Hindu guys. It opens up for you. The universe opens it up for you because you're asking for something from the pureness of your heart. Just like when a kid asks for something, a parent usually goes out their way to provide it for their kid because you see the good in that kid. You know, you see the good in them. And once you see the good in them, you see the God in them, you see the love in them. And when they ask for it, you're like, I'm going to go and use my body and my mind and go and get whatever that my kid needs. And it's the same way. It's the same way for us. We're still those kids, but it's just, you know, once you become an adult, you put away those childish things. But the one thing that you never should forget is that kid-like spirit. Never lose that. Never lose that. That was a whole story behind Hook, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of what athletes don't bring with us when we transition to life after sports is play.
Right.
You know, we're so focused on profits and passion and performance, and we forget about play.
Yep.
We got to bring that with us.
You got to bring that
so Prince, you mentioned you're working on a book.
Right.
When do we expect to see something like that come out?
Pre-sales start next Monday. When is that? August. When is next Monday?
17?
If it's August 17th, yep, that's it. Yep.
Okay.
Pre-sale starts August 17th, and the book goes on sale September 12th. Okay. And I have a lunch party that day as well. Is that right?
What's the name of the book?
The name of the book is called Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, Mastering the Balance Between Power and Peace. Took me 6 years to write this, and just got the book endorsed by Calvin Johnson Jr., Megatron. Yeah, Megatron, you know, so really excited, man. It's really big. I have a 6-week course where I dive into it with other people. Not other people. I dive into it with participants, and I answer their questions. I talk about the reason why I wrote this book and the thought process behind me writing this down, and also helping people tap into their inner being and learning how to master the balance between their power and their peace.
Love it. How can people connect with you online? How can they find you?
Oh man, one is going to my website, www.princedanielsjr, that's jr.com. And my Instagram page is Prince AD Jr. ADJR. And Facebook, you can find me at Prince Daniels Jr. But if you go to my website, you should be able to connect to, my Instagram, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, Twitter.
Well, the work that you're doing is powerful, and I'm grateful that you're at a place now where you can take the experiences that you've had and help others, and share your story. And thank you for sharing your story with us.
Oh man,
it's
thank you
powerful.
for allowing me to share my story. I'm sorry, I may have been a little too loquacious, but I
Never.
enjoy I just
Never.
enjoy sharing the experience and the knowledge, and I'll be doing this a lot, in the upcoming years. So look forward to it. I'm glad I was able to share it with you and your audience.
Well, hey, man, you definitely got a home with the recovering athlete community, and I'm looking forward to having you come join us. Some of our more elite groups and communities that I have to have you come and share more on how we can be more mindful in our work and be able to tap into that higher
man.
self. So,
Cletus, like, you have to keep asking yourself that question. And then when you figure out, and then when you think you have the answer, you got to keep asking yourself that question, like, who am I? And why am I here? What's my purpose? And that gives you a starting point, like what you can focus on when you're practicing your meditation. Because you can ask yourself that question, and then just stop and wait for an answer. And if you don't receive an answer, just ask yourself a question, then stop. And then wait till another meditation. Or not. And what happens is your level of awareness starts to enhance. And you start to see, like your question starts to become answered when you start living your day-to-day process. And as you're going along your day-to-day process, there'll be little certain subtle things that will just point out, like, hey, is this a part of what I've asked for? Like, who am I? What's my purpose? You start seeing it. There's little small things. And they start creating this big, they start, your purpose starts to become, or your passion starts to become your purpose. And then that becomes popular for you. And then you start realizing, like, whoa, I've been living this whole time. It's just I haven't been aware of it. And so broadening your awareness is the key to you connecting with your higher self. Because then you start realizing that there is a higher self. You read about it, you hear about it, but once you connect to it, no one else can tell you anything different. Because you're just like, look, I connected to something that there's nothing that you can say to me or do to me for me to think any other way. It's in you. Everything that we need has always been inside of us. We just have to become aware of it. So,
well, brother, keep smiling, keep sharing, and wishing the best of luck on your launch.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I look forward to being back.
All right. Best of luck to you, man. Take care.
Thank you. You too.